Well, welcome along to Snetterton, everybody. If you were joining us yesterday, you'll have seen some great racing in round 10 of the Clubmans Sports Prototype Championship. But round 11 is coming up now. The cars are already on the grid in advance of what will be a further 15-minute race for them. They will also have a further 15-minute race later on over the course of the day. The grid for race 2 is set from the fastest lap times that were set in race number 1. So with the countdown board almost done, it won't be that much longer before the cars head off on their formation lap. You can see the heat haze. You can see how warm it is here today at Snetterton. Ambient temperature at the moment starting to climb all of the time. We had a warm day. If you joined us yesterday, you'll have seen that. Slightly cooler at the beginning of the day today, but there's less of a breeze, and we are expecting the ambient temperature and therefore the track temperature to climb as well. So with the grid having been set based on the fastest lap times from yesterday as they head off on their formation lap, let's guide you through it. The pole position goes the way of the reigning champion, which is Steve Dickens, and alongside is 21 Alex Champkin. Row 2 is Jared Lester and Alan Cook. On the third row of the grid, that's where we see Peter Richings on the third row of the grid, and lining up alongside Peter Richings is Adrian Lester. Apologies with a small technical issue. Peter Richings and Adrian Lester sitting down row number 3. Row 4 is Ian Crombie and Michelle Haywood, with row 5 being Mathieu Gauthier-Thornton and Tom Bellamy. Row 6 of the grid, Maurice Hart, who had a good race yesterday with Paul Freeman. Row 7, Samantha Evans and Martin Walker, who also had a good race yesterday and claimed a class win. Row 8, Tom Muirhead, who retired from yesterday's race alongside 54. The venerable, hugely experienced Barry Webb, with row 9 being David Barnett and 52 Roger Watton. Row 10 of the grid is Brian Hunter and Mike Upton, and the 11th row of the grid is number 89, Brendan Hurd. There is one car that is missing from yesterday because we had 22 cars yesterday. We've only got 21 today, and that is because having to withdraw because of issues yesterday. Here's, I'm afraid, Rodney Player. We did see his car retire, 6 laps completed in the race. So he was penultimate lap where Rodney retired. Quite what the issue is with that car, I don't know. But Mike Evans will shortly be joining me in commentary representing the Clubman Sports Prototype Championship. And he will no doubt be able to shed a little bit more light onto what has happened. There is one more car, and that's that car there that we need to slot in off the back of the grid. So we are back up to 22 cars because number 71, Cody Tree, has joined the grid for this weekend. Couldn't come yesterday, I'm afraid. They were working on the car to try and solve a problem with it, but Cody is out, and he's well worth watching because Cody had to start off the back of the grid in one of the races at Donington Park, where he was not able to attend on one day because of a family wedding, if memory serves me correctly. He came off the back of the grid and finished from the back of the grid in 3rd place, and then went on to win the final race of the day. So he's well worth watching, Cody Tree, from the tail end of the grid. So Mike Evans joins me in commentary. Welcome along, Mike. I did say you might be the man to shed some light onto what the problem was with poor old Rodney Player, because he's had to withdraw from the weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems to have a problem with the engine. It started getting very noisy. I had to be pulled over and try to start up in the...
So apologies, we've got a small technical issue with Mike's microphone. So there we go. So yep. So we've popped that one on. There we go. So there we go. Pop that one on, and then that's the one we need. So yeah, you might be able to shed some light on what the problem was with Rodney Player.
Yes. He had a problem in the race. The engine started making funny noises, and that when they inspected it in the paddock yesterday afternoon, it still doesn't sound right. So they're taking the sensible decision to actually make it, take it home and check it over and everything like that. So
very sensible. Yeah. Cody Tree off the back of the grid. What do you think he might be able to do?
Up into the top 3, what do you think? He'd be there or back. And unfortunately, we've got a few other non-starters.
Oh, have we? Right, I wasn't aware of those.
Yeah, so we got David Barnett, who got collected in the first lap skirmish. Fortunately for David, very sad because he's travelled all the way down from Arbroath in Scotland. So 12-hour journey, and then the race was a bit of a disaster. And Brian, who obviously made where they are on the grid, well, we're on the first grid and everything like that. Brian obviously got involved in it as well, or maybe a bit more than that. So, and unfortunately, they're next to each other in the paddock, so the atmosphere was a bit tense.
Oh dear!
Yesterday afternoon.
Right. Okay. Oh dear! Right. Well, let's hope that they can make up there. So the cars are almost ready to go on the grid. We'll try and keep you up to date with what's going on in the various classes. It'll be CSP1 towards the front, CSP2 sort of in the middle of the pack, and CSPB towards the rear.
That's right, indeed. Let's see if those battles can reconvene.
We had some good ones yesterday, didn't we? So red light should be coming on the gantry any second now. 5-second board is held aloft, or gantry shows 5 seconds. Red lights will come on, And then we are going to be away and racing for round 11 of the Clubman Sports Prototype Championship. It looks like it's a good start from Steve Dickens. Alex Champion not quite as well away when the lights went out by the look of things. But by the time they get up towards Richie's corner, Alex Champion is fully up to speed and sweeps right the way around the outside of Steve Dickens. Fantastic stuff. That is a brave move, and that makes a statement straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, indeed. He has a lot to prove after yesterday. Unfortunately, one of those basic mistakes, to fuel with a lap to go. So another camp where the atmosphere was a bit tense yesterday afternoon and evening.
I wonder what happened with Alex yesterday, but that sheds the light on that one. So Alex Champion leads the way. Steve Dickens there in second position, and we'll see what's going on for the rest of the field. Paul Freeman involved in a good battle, but already number 71 Cody Tree working his way through the order. Brilliant stuff.
Indeed, and we've got a good battle already. Michelle Haywood actually leading CSP2, so she actually got away because she's normally not very good at making starts, but on this occasion she seems to have done well. So she's got Tom Bellamy and Matt Gautier Thornton on her tail.
I think that's 8th, 9th and 10th position, isn't it? They're resuming their battle from yesterday, aren't they?
But more importantly, this is the Class 2 battle. I mean, it's very much about the class battles. The overall position doesn't mean very much, but now we've got Cody who's got to work his way through them without sort of disturbing their races.
He needs to pick off Morris Hart, doesn't he, in the yellow car, who will no doubt know that Cody is going to be way quicker. He'll see him in his mirrors, and Cody will scythe his way by as they head down the Bentley Straight, whilst Alex Champion leads the pack up towards Brundle and Nelson for the first time. Side by side further down through the order, that's Adrian Lester, isn't it, that was running
and
wheel to wheel?
Alan Cook. So there's Cody overtaking, 3 of the CSP2 cars.
Big wiggle there from Cody Tree as he came through Brundle. Cold tyres, pushing hard.
As always, that's it. And it's a daunting corner. It's probably the most daunting corner on this track, and one of the most daunting corners on the circuits in the UK, because it's constantly turning left-hander, and then you're trying to break down chains and turn right at the same time.
You're asking the car to do a lot of different things, and it doesn't like many. And that's a run for Martin Walker.
Yes.
So did he have a half spin? Did he slow?
Looks like it. So obviously he was our CSPB class winner yesterday and doing really well, but obviously he's had the spin, as you say. So
it just looks like he was just in the process of recovering from that spin, wasn't he? So let's hope that he can manage to get himself going. And big question is, what's happened to Alan Cook? He started 4th, he's down to 6th at the end of the first lap. Not the best of laps from Alan.
No, obviously it's a new car for Alan, and he's still chatting with him yesterday in the paddock. He still doesn't feel totally at one with it and everything like that. So I think it takes him a few laps to get going. He was out in his CSP A car, in the Classic A car last weekend at Carroll Park. Really enjoyed it, but he says that car fits him like a glove, where this one he's still trying to get to terms with.
Cody Tree off the back of the grid, up to 8th at the end of the first lap. Here he comes and works his way past the next of the cars that lies just ahead of him, which is Ian Crombie's car. So that's another place gained now. He's up into 7th position. He's now closing in on the car we were just talking about, Alan Hart at the wheel. Alan Cook at the wheel of the Mallock. And should be able to thread his way through. Probably not on the run in towards Oggies or Williams, but down the Bentley Straight he should effortlessly ease that number 71 car through.
Yeah, there's similar power, so if he times it right and gets a slipstream onto the Oggie Straight and everything like that, then he should be able to get his way by. But
looks a very slippery shape, doesn't it, the 71?
Yes, it's a really nice car. One of the dominant Mallocks and everything like that. So I'm sure, 30. Alan Cook's car, Mark 31, so a really good car. So I'm sure it won't be long before Alan's got it really going well.
So let's have a quick look.
So Cody hasn't got past.
No, he hasn't got past. I thought he might get past down the Bentley Straight. There is the number 84 car of Michelle Haywood. Now she currently leads class CSP2.
Yes.
Now we saw a good battle in CSP2 yesterday, but she's got the pace over them all. She's pulled away today.
But we've got Tom Bellamy who's got in front ahead of Matt and Morris. And Tom is not the quickest car in CSP2, but it can be the widest, shall we say.
So Tom Bellamy, Mathieu Gautier Thornton and Morris are all fighting over 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the respective class, whilst the number 84 car of Michelle Haywood sort of drives away and up the road. And who's leading CSPB now? That will be Tom Muirhead, who was leading class CSPB yesterday. Martin Walker took the win, but that's because Tom retired, didn't he?
And he had a battery wire fail on the car, unfortunately. Very sad. So, but it was an easy one to fix, unlike some of the other problems people have had.
You don't mind those ones, do you? And you're disappointed with the retirement, but one that's easy to fix. Paul Freeman going wheel to wheel as Samantha Evans looks to try and see whether she can gain a place.
Come on, Samantha.
That's your daughter.
Well, let's see what happens at the hairpin now. Mind you, Paul's already moved over to the inside to block the corner there.
Paul's got plenty of racing experience under his belt, hasn't he? He'll position that Ardmore exactly where you don't want it.
Yeah, indeed. So this will be a good challenge for Samantha, because She was a little bit quicker in qualifying, but yesterday's race wasn't brilliant. But I'm sure she's determined to change all that.
How many years has she been racing now?
So this is like a third year.
Yeah, I could say 3, 4. Yeah.
So no, it's coming on strong, and
It's the tutorage of Dad, you know.
No, I don't. There's not that much you can say. We keep trying and everything like that. So.
And there's the 58. That's our class CSPB leader,
yes.
Tom Muirhead, who looks as though he is reasonably comfortable in that class at the moment.
Yeah. So Barry's not there. Normally Barry Webb would be challenging,
pushing,
not leading the class. So, and Martin is obviously coming up, but he's still 20 seconds behind Tom, so Muirhead. So this will be interesting to see how that.
Any idea why Barry maybe hasn't quite got the pace that we expected this weekend?
I don't know, but it was the same at Brands, but he said that was Brands GP, and he says this circuit he never goes up really well at, so not one of his favourite ones. So we will never say he's getting old or anything like that.
And Maurice Hart has got himself ahead of Tom Bellamy in what is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th in CSP2. It's still being led, that little trio, by Matt Gauthier-Thornton, who's sort of escaping the grasp of the two cars that sit behind. But Maurice is having a good run, isn't he, in the yellow Hart, up to 3rd in the class.
Yes, indeed. No, that's good. And obviously Matt has found his way past Tom, because as I say, Tom has a wide car, and obviously Maurice has done so as well. So that's whether there was a mistake or skirmish or Tom went wide at one of the corners. We'll find out later on.
Good little fight that between the Gem, the Phantom and the Mallet. Three different chassis. Remind me, who designed the Phantoms again?
Chris
Greville-Smith, wasn't it? Yeah.
And Chris Greville-Smith came along recently to
Richard Cresswell?
Yes.
Yeah.
So no, this is it. They're going well, the Phantoms. Obviously, Alex Champion has taken over the rights to that, and there's obviously the new car this year, which you can just see now.
The P21,
good timing. So Alex, obviously, a really peddler, but also a really good race engineer. He's learnt a lot in Clubmans and everything like that, and so it's great to see him going out, going strong.
What I find intriguing with the design of the P21 as well, you look at the height of the rear wing relative to the rest of the bodywork compared to the height of the rear wing relative to the rest of the bodywork on the Mallets. It's a much lower rear wing, isn't it?
Indeed. No, that's right. And really sleek looking car, and that's a lovely looking car. As you say, much smaller cross-sectional area than the Mallet. You can see that from Steve behind there. So there's Cody. Now, is this on Jared Lester's? Adrian Lester's.
It's Adrian Lester. Adrian's having a good run. He's sitting there in the number 66 car in 5th position, but Cody Tree off the back of the grid is looking to see whether he might be able to undo him. However, in a straight line, Cody hasn't quite got the pace in a straight line of some of the other cars. I don't think.
Indeed.
Even in the slipstream, he's not really closed, does he?
No, that's right. He didn't on Allen on one of the earlier laps that we saw. So no, Cody's not coming through the field quite as quick as I imagined he would.
But what Cody's giving away in a straight line, he's got in terms of commitment in the corners. So through he goes. Takes the place away.
He's very young, very brave driver.
We've had quite a few. It's nice to get some younger blood coming through into Clubman's racing. You've got the old stalwarts who've been around for many a year, but everything needs a succession plan, and it's great to see these younger drivers coming in, because with the best will in the world, Peter Richings and Barry Webb aren't going to be able to race in another 15 years' time.
Absolutely brilliant now to see some of the youngsters out there with Martin, Cody, Matt, who else? Obviously Samantha. There's normally Pippa Tanner Wood out there. It's really good to see the youngsters coming through, and there's a few like Paul Freeman's son Will is itching to get in the car as soon as Paul. I think he's passed his driving test a year ago, and he's absolutely dying to get in the car.
You mentioned Pippa Tanner Wood, but question mark over why her and her father Clive not here this week?
No, that's right. They're at Thruxton with the F3s and
the historic stuff down there. Yeah, right.
Clive has really been a strong and his family been a strong supporter of Clubmans the last couple of years, but obviously Clive's got a lot of cars. So this year he's having a historic year.
Historic, right? He's racing. Has he got a historic Formula 2 out down at Thruxton?
I'm not sure whether it's the F2, but certainly the F3s are out there, and Pippa's driving an F3 as well.
Now for the lead of the race, Alex Champion has been caught again by Steve Dickens. Look at the gap back, though, to Jared Lester, who's there in 3rd place. This is our Class CSP2 leader, Michelle Haywood. Now, she's leading the class by 6.4 seconds, which is in stark contrast to yesterday, where there was enormous pressure for the win, wasn't it, in that class?
Yeah, with Matt Gauthier-Thornton really being dominant, and Michelle was on his tail and that, but she couldn't find a way by, and looking at the video and the coverage yesterday, she was kicking herself that she hadn't got by. So obviously this time she's determined to take it straight from the lights going out.
Back to winning ways for Michelle Haywood in CSP2. Whereas Matteo Gauthier-Thornton claimed the win yesterday in his class. Must have been chuffed with that, because that was his first win of the year.
Yes, over the moon with it. And to some degree, he was delighted where the other side of the garage or the other side of the under the awning with Alex's car that had run out of fuel. They were despondent, but it kept the atmosphere reasonable in there.
Kept it balanced, kept the equilibrium that we need. Steve Dickens trying to see whether he can undo the lead of the race. That was down at the Wilson hairpin, but Alex Champkin wise to it. He's on full attack mode again as they come up towards Palmer, but can't quite make it stick. Alex Champkin's line didn't look great there round through Palmer, so compromised the exit speed, I think.
Indeed, whether the tyres, Gabby, what you saying how hot it was yesterday and the tyres were going off and that, and Steve, I think, was taking it easy, and I think Alex's tyres had grained up a little bit yesterday, so Steve maybe was just taking it easy, make sure it was okay, and then pounce later on in the race. Hats
off to Brendan Hurd there as well for moving well and truly out of their way at Agostini. Very experienced Brendan, saw them coming, stayed out the way.
Yeah, no, that's the way it should be. It's great to see.
Now, Paul Freeman, now he was having that busy little squabble, wasn't he, with Samantha Evans. Well, there's Paul.
Oh, Samantha's ahead.
Sam was ahead on the previous lap. Now, how far ahead has she gone? There she goes. She pulled away quite substantively.
Yeah, no, she'll be happy about that. So what's her lap time? So this is the thing to see. It's the best lap.
Best lap 206.043. She's just done it.
So that's quicker, I think, than a qualifying time. So that's really good news.
I think there might not be good news, though, for Steve Dickens, because there's the question mark that he might have picked up a time penalty for transgressing the circuit limits.
No.
If you look towards the corner of the screen, has he? No, that's fastest lap. No, so he did fastest lap. I was concerned for a moment. Yeah, 1 minute 53.399 is the fastest lap, but Alex Champkin and Steve Dickens are still fighting away for the lead of the race. So. Now, how much does the slipstream make a difference in these cars? Huge difference, I would think.
Yeah, it can do indeed. And there we are. We saw Steve really gain on Alex in the first corner. But I'm surprised that if Steve had gone off and on the track limits, because normally our guys are quite sensible about that. And Terry Tree, who's our clerk of the course, is very strict about keeping everybody under control.
Look at the battle for third in Class CSP2. Tom Bellamy had just managed to get himself ahead of Maurice Hart, but Maurice Hart was trying to attack back as they came back down the Bentley straight. He's right on the coattails of the number 3 car of Tom Bellamy, but couldn't quite do it. So unfortunately, he's now down to 4th in the class, and the other class leader is this car here, Tom Muirhead, back after that small fix, as you said, which eluded him a victory yesterday. He was leading the class before the car retired, but comfortably leading Class CSPB. He's about 8 seconds up the road, isn't he, from Barry Webb?
From Barry, in the class. No, that's right. So the leaders are still nose to tail there. We see them go through. Obviously, just lapped Roger Watton, and then we've got Alex Champkin.
Which one? Jared Lester.
Jared Lester. I'm going to say this. I can't. Jared
Lester
in third place there.
Yeah, Cody Tree's up to 4th as well, because he got ahead of Peter Richings on the previous lap. So the number 71 car, Cody Tree, off the back of the grid. You got him down for a podium. Well, he is 16 seconds adrift of Jared Lester.
Yeah,
that's a big ask.
Yeah,
he wasn't far off. We knew he'd make progress. Now, Steve Dickens, traffic to deal with. And he is now a long, long way ahead of Alex Champkin, which has got me scratching my head again.
Oh dear, what's happened to Alex this time? So no, that's. Well, he won't run out of fuel.
No obvious signs of anything wrong with the car. Can't really see any back markers behind him. Did he have a moment maybe when they caught up with Martin Walker?
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised Martin's normally very good. I would imagine something else has happened earlier on in the lap.
A missed gear, a slide wide, yeah, something like that.
As I say, I did wonder whether he may have grained the front tyres. I know that it was an issue yesterday, but no, that gap's too big there, isn't it? So.
It's been one of those seasons for Alex Champkin where it's been a proper yo-yo championship for him. It's had highs, but it's had plenty of lows as well, hasn't it? It's either been podiums or non-finishes almost.
Yeah, indeed. No, and he's going well, obviously, in the car, brand new car, really pedaling it well, but yeah, get rid of the little bugs out of it.
Yeah, that was the problem at Donington, wasn't it, really, with retirement in race number 1 and then 2 non-starts with the car, wasn't it, that opening weekend for Alex Champkin in this brand new car. So here's our Class CSPB leader, Tom Muirhead, safely on his way, leading the class by a reasonable margin. 16 seconds he now leads it by from Barry Webb.
Oh, so Barry,
quite substantively.
Barry must be, Martin can't be far behind Barry. 5 seconds it is. So that'll be interesting to see. Martin will be determined to get on Barry's tails, I'm sure.
But for Tom Muirhead, he can almost just afford to stroke it home now. Tom Muirhead, who, say, we saw winning the class yesterday until he retired, or leading the class until he retired. He'll be on for, if he can do it, he'll be on for his 4th class win of the season so far, whilst the number 65 car of Ian Crombie is going to occupy the final place inside the top 8. Not seen much of Ian this year, have we?
That's right. He was the first time out this year, was at Brands Hatch 3 weeks ago, and this is his 2nd meeting, so no, good to see him out there. So yeah, we've obviously got Steve well on his way, so on the last lap. Yeah,
Steve Dickens looking good here to maybe chalk up a race victory, which would be 2 for the weekend for him. Well, a bit like buses, isn't it? You wait for one, which he's been waiting for a long time for his first of the year. That came yesterday. A bit like buses, you wait for one, and all of a sudden 2 come along at once, and all he's got to do is safely stroke the car out of Murray's, and he's on for a win.
Yes, indeed. So no, he'll be over the moon with that. So that'd be really good, and a good lap. So then we'll have Cody obviously in 4th place, but I guess a good time. So it could be Cody and Steve Dickens on the front row of the next race. There we are. So that's Steve taking the flag.
Steve Dickens takes the win. We wait the arrival of Alex Champion over the start-finish line. He comes over the start-finish line now. We've also got our Class CSPB leader over the start-finish line. So Tom Muirhead off the lead lap, but confirmed now, subject to official confirmation.
He'll be over the moon about that, yes. And then Jared Lester, for 3rd. But no, it's great to see Tom. This is his first season really racing with us in this class. He's really enjoying it. He's a real asset to the paddock. The whole family are really good.
And it's back to winning ways for Michelle Haywood by the look of things in Class CSP2 as well. She's just heading round through Coram for the final time. She had to give 2nd best yesterday in the class to Matteo Gauthier-Thornton, who picked up his 1st class win of the season. But Michelle is about to come up towards the final corner and is on for what will be her 8th class win of the year.
Indeed, no final corner mishaps this year, unlike last year when I said about it. Sure enough, there she was sideways on the grass, and she isn't letting me forget about that.
You held up your hand for the commentator's curse there, did you?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I keep getting reminded about that.
So Steve Dickens will be pleased with that. He's had a tough old year, Steve Dickens. So it's nice to see him claim a win yesterday. It's even nice that he's backed it up with a double win today. Could he make it 3, looking at the relative pace that he's got?
No, I think he and Cody Tree and Alex could have a good old battle for the 3rd race of the day, or 3rd race of the weekend. So, no, there's Paul Freeman coming in. So
yeah, we've had a few more cars crossing the finish line now. In the squabble that we saw between the yellow Malak of Maurice Hart and Tom Bellamy, it did go the way of Maurice Hart in the end.
Oh, that's great.
He did get 3rd in class,
by half a second, so that will have been a real good battle there. So hopefully the onboard footage is working on Maurice's car. So I know he's got a new onboard camera, which he was busy playing with over the weekend, so he'll enjoy looking at that.
Getting the settings right. There goes your daughter. Michelle Evans takes the checkered flag, and this is the final car now, number 53, Paul Freeman, to take the checkered flag at the wheel of the ex-Crichton Brown Ardmore that can trace its roots back many a year indeed, that particular chassis. So that's the last car over the start-finish line.
Well, that's great to see. Everybody coming home. No mishaps, no misadventures in this race. That's
no,
good.
I think the only question mark for me, you might be able to find out and let us know for the 3rd race, is what happened to Alex Champion when he lost the lead and lost the time.
Yeah, I will certainly go and find out what's going on there. And that's
so thanks to Mike Evans from the Clubmans Sports Prototype Championship. But let's confirm the results. Steve Dickens claims the win, 2nd of the weekend, his 2nd of the season, from Alex Champion in 2nd place and Jared Lester in 3rd. Cody Tree off the back of the grid finished in 4th place, ahead of Peter Richings in 5th place, and Adrian Lester completed the top 6. In 7th place, it was the number 17 car of Alan Crook, with Ian Crombie in 8th place, and winning Class CSP2 was Michelle Haywood, number 84, who was there in 9th, 8th from Matteo Gauthier-Thornton, who completed the top 10. In 11th place was Maurice Hart with Tom Bellamy in 12th place. 13th place was the number 87 car of Samantha Evans. I was going to say Michelle. Samantha Evans. Paul Freeman was there in 14th place, and Tom Muirhead in 15th was the winner of Class CSPB from Barry Webb. Then Martin Walker, and then we saw Roger Watt and Brendan Hurd, and the car of Mike Upton completing the top 20. Fastest lap of the race went the way of Steve Dickens, that 1 minute 53.399. And that's it for our 2nd race from the Clubmans Sports Prototype Championship here at Snetterton. But they will be back, and they'll be back out later on today. We are scheduled to go live with their race, if we run to timetable, around about 5 o'clock this afternoon. So make sure you rejoin us for the 3rd and final race, round 12 of the championship. So from Mike Evans, myself, Mark Burrell, thanks for joining us for race 2, but make sure you're back for race 3. Goodbye.